Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you are viewing today's pre-recorded, on-demand, exciting webinar. Folks, my name is Jim Marini. I'm proudly here today to be your host as we talk about customizable rail vacations across Europe. And I have to warn everyone, there are some fantastic destinations that you, your friends, and family can see. And we're going to talk about this right here, right now. And I want to thank you all for joining us. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, for those of you that are looking right there on your computer screen, I am doing today's exciting on-demand webinar on our system called On24. And if you look at the large picture right there on the screen, well, that is going to be all the big and beautiful pictures of all these fantastic destinations throughout Europe. In the top left-hand corner on your screen, yes, that's me. Hello, folks. That's Jim Marini, the video that you see up top left. You also have a little information about myself in the bottom left-hand corner, and then some helpful little handouts on the right-hand side of your screen. So with that in mind, let's get started. And today, we're going to talk about lots of great things, starting out with our top recommendations for the most iconic once-in-a-lifetime experiences, the different types of accommodations offered on each luxury rail journey, why traveling by rail is a bucket list experience you should experience now more than ever. I think the one common theme all of us can agree on is the last 2 years are in the past. It's time to make up for lost time. And that means right here, right now, over the next 1 to 2 years. All right. How Railbookers can provide a single source for all components of your vacation and any discounts and special offers available to you. Now, for those of you who may not be as familiar with Railbookers group brands, well, the first one, as you can see here, this is my Railbookers group brand logo on my shirt, is we are the sister brand of Amtrak Vacations. Now, Amtrak Vacations is the national tour operator here in the United States for Amtrak. So what does that mean? With our sister brand Amtrak Vacations, any of you that want to stay closer to home, maybe you don't like to go flying, or you don't feel like driving, or you want to visit family and friends in other parts of the country and tie in a little vacation along the way, well, you could certainly do that with our sister brand Amtrak Vacations. And we have packages from literally weekend getaways from 3, 4, 5-day weekend, week-long trips to 1 and 2 weeks long across the country, especially out to some of the beautiful national parks. Now, today it is about Europe, and in particular, all these great vacations that you can personalize, you can customize just the way you would like. And here's the best part. With Railbookers, it's all of our trips throughout not only Europe, but also throughout Canada, all over the world, Asia, Australia, South Africa, you name it. We pretty much go to most continents and most countries around the world where you get a chance to experience traveling by rail. And today, again, it's about Europe. Here's something exciting to share with all of you. Did you know you can actually travel right here in your own backyard, for those of you located in the United States, with our sister brand, Amtrak Vacations, literally from today. So whenever you are viewing today's pre-recorded on-demand webinar, if you want to just get out of your house and go somewhere, whether it's a quick getaway trip or a trip for 1 or 2 weeks long, you can literally leave today right here in the United States with Amtrak Vacations. Now, with Railbookers, in particular to Europe and anywhere around the world, you can certainly plan today or in the next few weeks, few months to travel anytime in the next 1 to 2 years, all the way up until 2024. And the reason we're able to offer this great value to all of you, folks, we have direct rail partnerships with not only many of the trains that you can see here, but some of those iconic trains, the local trains, the high-speed trains, and yes, even the luxury trains. Now, there's many reasons why travelers love traveling with Railbookers, and I tried to condense it to the top 7, all right? Number 1, when you or your travel advisor books with us, they are speaking to a live rail expert, as you can see in the top left-hand corner on the big picture on your screen. This person, he or she, knows the best train routes, the best times, destinations, and they're there to help each and every one of you as well as your travel advisors. Now, if any of you are planning to go on a river cruise or maybe an ocean cruise, a Mediterranean cruise, why not extend your trip? Why not spend more time in Europe while you're in Europe? It may be a trip of a lifetime. We can help you do that. Now, the nice thing is, too, on any of our packages, we have lots of hotel choices, and I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. As I mentioned, you can book and travel up to 2 years in advance. Also, you don't have to piece your trip all together and try to do it on your own. With different trains have different policies, different currencies. That's where Railbookers comes in. We package everything for you and your travel advisor, making it nice and easy. Now, what you'll learn about today is all of our trips are independent style vacations, independent travel. So what does that mean? It's packages that have tours included on certain days, some meals included, hotels, of course, are included. You get to choose, but then you get to add additional items. You get to visit other areas. And the last part is the choice is yours. Again, any of these trips that I highlight here today can be customized just the way you would like, can be personalized just the way you would like. So if you have a particular city in Europe, folks, if the train goes there, Railbookers can take you there. Now, the nice part with Railbookers, as well as our sister brand Amtrak Vacations, we have staff in global locations worldwide. Now, if you hear a little bit of an accent from myself, I am based out of the Boston area, but we have staff in locations located throughout the world: Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Southern California, and Laguna Hills, over across the pond throughout England and Europe, as well as down under in Sydney, Australia. But here's what I love. When you hear the word Railbookers, folks, we do way more than just rail. So what does Railbookers offer? If you look in the top left-hand corner, these 6 little boxes, all right, we take care of not only the different types of trains throughout Europe and around the world, but also can take care of confirmed seat reservations on board the train. We take care of sightseeing activities and tours, hotels, again, ranging from 3, 4 to 5 star, 3, 4 to 5 diamond, ferries, transfers, excursions, overnight rail journeys, and so much more. Now, today it is about customizing or having the option to customize any trip. So let me give you an example of what that means, okay? You can add on any destination. So again, if you want to visit an additional city on any particular trip, again, if the train goes there, we can take you there. If you want to take a trip round trip from a particular city in Europe, we can also help you do that. You can book a trip in reverse. So if you see an itinerary, even today, as I'm doing today's pre-recorded on-demand webinar, that you would love to do, but you'd love to do it in reverse, you can do that. If you want to upgrade to first class or even another type of category, we can help you do that, or even add sightseeing tours or private tours. Now, I know I mentioned this earlier, but on any package, you get to choose between a 3, 4, and 5-star hotel. And here's the best part. It can be on the same trip, folks, all right? So let's say the first city you arrive at in Europe, you could be at a 3-star hotel in the first city. The second city on the same trip, you could be at a 4-star. And let's say in that third city, it happens to be your anniversary or your birthday or a special occasion, you could be at a 5-star, 5-diamond hotel on the same trip, folks. And that's the beauty of independent style vacations. And I'm going to talk more about what is the difference between independent style travel and vacations, which is what Railbookers and our sister brand Amtrak Vacations offers, versus a traditional escorted bus tour. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit. But before we do, let me just show you a map of the European rail network system. All right. You see all these colorful lines right there on your screen, folks? Those represent all the different trains within Europe. Here's some fun little facts for you. Do you know recently there was over 1 billion travelers, 1 billion people that travel just in Europe, billion with a B, all right? There's over 26,000 train stations in Europe. Wherever the trains go, Railbookers can take you, your friends, and family there. And as I mentioned, we do way more than just trains, from hotels, sites, activities, tours, meals, ferries, transfers, you name it. Now, what makes a luxury rail journey different? Well, it's lots of things. It's an iconic, historic, and often incredibly scenic route. I think it's safe to say anywhere we fly in the world, the clouds look the same. It's impeccable onboard service with dedicated stewards and staff throughout your journey. World-class cuisine. Certainly, if you're upgrading to certain categories, you will have that ability. A variety of onboard sleeping accommodations and even private excursions and additional activities offered. With that in mind, let's get started, folks, okay? And the first destination we're going to talk about today that, again, you can customize. In fact, you can customize any trips we have, not only throughout Europe, but anywhere in the world. But these are destinations that are trending right now as we speak, okay? over the next 1 to 2 years, as well as this year, starting with Sicily. Now, when we start in Sicily, we visit Catania. Now, I am proud to say my dad is from Italy, but one of the nice things about Sicily is if you ask people from Sicily if they're Italian, they're not. They are Sicilian. By the way, a little fun trivia, cannolis is actually a Sicilian pastry. All right. Sicilians very proud of their heritage. But Catania is located in eastern Sicily. It's actually a little south of Mount Etna, historical, architectural city center, just an awesome area. And if you like me, whether it's Catania, whether you're in Palermo or any of the great cities in Europe, I love going to some of those outdoor cafes, bakeries, maybe having a cup of cappuccino. Now in Palermo, this is a great city itself. Interestingly enough, Palermo was the most conquered city in all of history. So basically the most folks that conquered the city throughout the years. Lots of history here. And interestingly enough, speaking of history, it actually has the largest number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites in the world, even more than Greece, folks. Even more than Greece, right here in Sicily. And you can see some of these great cities and more on our Essential Sicily package, which is a great 7-day package, 6 nights. And if you look at the price on this trip, as well as any of the prices that I show here today, prices are based in double occupancy, so per person, 2 to a room, but we do have single rates available as well. So you can either ask us or ask your local travel advisor to tell you more. The next destination we move on to is Grand Swiss Lakes. Now, I have to say, I'm very excited, everyone. I am traveling back to Switzerland myself. I can't wait. And actually, the city that I arrive in is right here, Geneva. And that's where this particular package begins. Believe it or not, Geneva is the second largest city in Switzerland behind Zurich. But an interesting fun fact for all of you. You know, about 40% of the population in Geneva is actually from outside of Switzerland. It's the most international city in all of Switzerland. Now, outside of Geneva, you have Lucerne. You also have Interlaken, which is just a beautiful area nestled right in between the mountains. You have the lake nearby. And speaking of lake, Lake Lucerne. Switzerland is our #1 most popular country that folks travel to in all of Europe, our #1. And Lucerne is one of my favorite. Now, when you're in Lucerne, they have a cable car ride. Obviously, the city itself is beautiful. They have the wooden covered bridge right there along Lake Lucerne. There's 3, 4, and 5-star hotels. Again, you get to choose where you would like to stay in each city because any trip can be customized. This trip itself, 10 days, 9 nights, starting as low as $33.99, based in double occupancy per person. The nice thing with Railbookers too, folks, we book pretty much most of everything for you except for flights. So that's another reason why any trips you're interested in, especially to Europe, you always want to consider to book through your local travel advisor. You will never spend 1 penny more doing it, and they can also book not only any of these packages, but your round trip flights as well. This is also a great treat because you also travel on the Gothard Express to Lugano. So yes, you're traveling right into the border of Italy and Lugano. And what's cool about Switzerland, as some of you may know, it's one of the most unique countries in the world where multiple languages are spoken throughout different parts of Switzerland. So in Lugano, their first language they're speaking is Italian. In other parts of Switzerland, it's German, it's French, okay? All different languages depending on where you're traveling. Let's continue on. The next one is London, Paris, and Amsterdam. Now, for me personally, London is one of my top 3 favorite cities in the world. If you like activities, you like great cuisine and shopping and nightlife, you will not be disappointed. Here we have a beautiful picture of the Parliament building, Big Ben, located right there. All right. Plenty of time to go explore this city, and it is fantastic. Now, nearby London, we have Paris. Now, Paris, of course, home of the Eiffel Tower, also home to some of those fantastic little cafes. So again, it's not only in Sicily or Italy, it's also right here in France as well. And then, of course, Amsterdam, such an awesome city. There's the canal with the boats and the little opportunities to go shopping along either side. Just a great trip, 7 days, 6 nights, starting as low as 1279, folks. All right. Now, if any of you are going on any river cruise that may start or end in Amsterdam, why not again expand your trip, spend a little more time before or after, and you can do that right here. All right. This is a great package too, folks, because again, not only do you spend 2 nights in London, 2 nights in Paris, but you're also 2 nights in Amsterdam. And if you look at the map, the dotted lines just represent the trains. So that's obviously how you'll get to and from all these different areas. And when we travel on board the trains, well, folks, as I mentioned, we also partner with some of these high-speed train lines, such as Eurostar, such as the TGV train. Some of these trains can go up to 200 miles per hour. So literally, it can take you within one great city to another in 2 different countries, literally within a few hours. Let's move on to the next destination. And this one we're going to talk about is Ireland. Now, Ireland is such a special place to travel to for one reason when you visit Killarney. All right. Here we have one of many castles. Now, I will say when you're in Killarney, any of you that have Ireland on your bucket list, your wish list, again, maybe some of you have a special anniversary or birthday coming up, why not consider Ireland as a destination of your choice? Make sure to visit the woolen mills, all right, where you can get some of the most beautiful clothing and thick woolen sweaters, and it's located right in the area. Now, this trip is special because it not only visits central to southern Ireland, it also goes up into Northern Ireland as well, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. But in central to southern Ireland, obviously, you have Killarney, you have Galway, and then Dublin. Dublin, we have the Halfpenny Bridge right here. This is also similar to London, a vibrant city. One of the things that I love about Ireland, folks, that always stands out to me, and I've had the pleasure of traveling on many of these different destinations, travel to many of these countries over the years. Ireland, I'll always remember in the evening when we would go out and just go to some of the local restaurants and pubs, it would be a wide range of all ages, not as common as what we may see here within North America, where I remember some of the pubs, there would be, someone singing who might be in their 20s and 30s, someone playing the guitar who's in their 60s, somebody on the drums who might be in their 30s or 40s. Everybody enjoyed spending time with each other, and the way they really spent time and enjoyed each other's company was through music at many of these restaurants and pubs. Just a happy, fun place to travel to. And I mentioned this trip also does include Northern Ireland, which you can see right here in Belfast. So this trip itself, 10 days, 9 nights. And as you can see, looking at the map, lots of great cities that you travel to. I ended up mentioning a handful of them, but as you can see, there's a lot more. From Cliffs of Moher, Limerick, the Ring of Kerry, all right, just to name a few. So if Ireland is on your wish list, consider that particular package. Now, I know I talked about it a little bit earlier, but any of you that are traveling on any river cruises, well, here's another great area in Europe that you could also extend your river cruise. In particular, any of you that may be traveling on a Danube river cruise, where you can spend time in some of these great cities, starting with Prague. Now, Prague for locals is known as Praha. The G is actually silent. It's divided into the Old Town and the New Town by the bridge that you see here, or bridges, as you can see. And I will mention, you can't see it from this picture, but on the bridge itself, on some of these bridges, they have some of the most unique statues that you could see firsthand. Vienna, one of the cleanest, most beautiful cities in the world. In Austria, you'll spend time there before traveling to Budapest. All right, 3 amazing cities, either to do as its own land package that you can customize, you can create. And again, when we talk about customizing trips, let me give you an example, folks, all right? Whether it's on this trip or any of the trips that I highlighted here today, or any other trips that we have throughout Europe. If you look at the map, you can see you spend 2 nights in each city. But let's say, for instance, folks, you want to spend 4 nights in Prague, and you only want 1 night in Vienna. Or you want 4 nights in Vienna and 1 night in Prague. Or 5 nights in Budapest. Any trips can be customized and personalized just the way you would like. And if you want to add on additional cities, maybe some of you might want to go into Germany or continue your trip throughout France. Wherever the trains go, Railbookers can take you, your friends, and family there. Now, folks, we have a whole series of digital brochures that focus not only worldwide, but also throughout Canada, throughout Europe, throughout Asia, Australia, India, as well as even up in Alaska. So I encourage you to plan your trip of a lifetime and to travel independently, which is really the best way to travel. And I know I mentioned it at the beginning. What's the difference between traveling independently versus on a traditional escorted tour? It's as simple as this, folks. All of our trips, you get to personalize, not only from the start, but during the trip and at the end, however you would like ahead of time. Any of our rail experts, or even better, your local travel advisor, can customize and piece together any trip the way you would like. So unlike a traditional escorted bus tour, which, as an example, from 6 to 8 in the morning, it's breakfast. From 8 to 12, it's sightseeing. From 12 to 2, it's lunch. From 2 to 5, it's more sightseeing. From 5 to 7, it's dinner. From 7 p.m. on, there's an evening activity. And that's most days and nights on an escorted guided bus tour. You see, what we do is really the best of both. On certain days, on any of the trips that I highlighted here today, you will have a full day guided tour or a half a day guided tour with a local tour guide. But guess what? The remainder of the day you have at leisure to explore on your own, to maybe go to some of those little outdoor cafes or bakeries, have a cup of cappuccino, relax. You might have a free day at leisure to go to a favorite museum that you would like to spend more time walking amongst the city and listening to the locals as they speak their language. That's the beauty of independent style travel, what we refer to in the travel industry as FIT, which stands for flexible independent travel. And you get a chance to experience that as well on any of these trips throughout Europe or certainly anywhere around the world. Folks, I encourage you to pick up that phone, give us a call, or even better, contact your local travel advisor who can book any of these trips, including your flights. Because again, I mentioned it at the beginning of today's presentation, and I'm going to mention it again. There's one thing for sure that I think we all have learned, certainly over the last couple of years, and that is time is of the essence. All right? We can't change what's happened in the past, but we can certainly change what happens in the future. And we hope and encourage all of you to allow Railbookers to do that for you, your friends and family, and plan that rail vacation of a lifetime. On behalf of Railbookers and our sister brand, Amtrak Vacations, thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed today's pre-recorded, on-demand webinar. Thanks so much, everyone.